You heard Steve Kerr and everyone talking so glowingly about Steph Curry. Trevor, as we look at the MVP finalists right now, Steph Curry at his age right now is averaging a career high in points per game this year at 32, a single season record of 5.3 3-point field goals per game. Dude's been out of his mind, and they are going to fight for their playoff lives in the play-in tournament. Like, Trev, where are you at on trying to earmark this as one of Steph's best seasons of all time? Because I think it's been incredibly individually compelling, but are we doing him a disservice by lumping this in with some of these seasons like his unanimous MVP and these championship runs that he led?
It's hard to parse it out, but I do believe it's correct to put it in the pantheon of his MVP unanimous MVP season because of just the offensive proficiency that you touched on, right? Like, career high in points tells you everything that you need to know. Obviously, you couple that with the idea that Klay Thompson isn't on the floor. He doesn't have KD there. There are so many myriad reasons why he's having to score that much. But when it came to the narrative surrounding Stephen Curry, it was that he was the best system player of all time. Even in essence saying that he was the system, right? He has proven that it's damn the system. Hey, just get the ball in his hands and let him cook. And he has shown that you can win games based off of that alone. You're not going to win a whole lot of games based off of that alone, but you can win those games, reasonably speaking.
Well, yeah, and I think that's the thing that gets here, because Chiney gives me a lot of grief a lot of times on this show, because I said at the beginning of this season, without the benefit of this cast, are we going to see Steph Curry have the ability to do what LeBron did for a lot of years in Cleveland, drag these lifeless husks of rosters to deep postseason runs? And we know it was different. It was a different Eastern Conference for so many reasons. And maybe the comparison to LeBron is unfair for almost anyone, even Steph Curry, just because of how they both play the game. But to me, with Steph, this year feels akin to, not that it is not impressive, but that, again, the standard for this player, like we talk all the time about, we were just talking during the break about Tim Legler, one of our great colleagues here, who was an awesome NBA three-point shooter. Absolutely. And a guy who gets tried certainly in ways because of that, the way a lot of role players in the NBA do. And then you take him out of that context and you put him on a pickup court somewhere, or you put him at a pro-am somewhere, and they go out here and bust dudes you-know-whats, and all of a sudden people are like, oh, wow, I have a newfound respect for all of this. That's not the best performance Tim Legler would ever put on, much the same way it's not for Steph Curry, but we took him out of the context of that to show everyone what we already should have known. Like, Steph has been doing all this stuff, and he's been doing it to teams in deep runs. He's been doing it as the best player on a team that won more games than any team in the NBA's history. So those are the parts that, to me, just start to be the let's pump the brakes a bit on lionizing this season relative to what Steph's done, which has always been impressive.
Look here, we know that this entire MVP candidacy is based upon the month of April alone. Like, it was a problematic month. He was unfreaking believable in that singular month. And look, it timed out well for him, right? Like, they were making a run as a team. He was playing out of his daggone mind. And that's how we get to this conversation of overselling the idea of him being an MVP. Because I am in full agreement with you that he does not need to be in that pantheon of player. But I think we can recognize his season and say this was a dang good Steph season. It doesn't necessarily have to mean that he earned the MVP. I ain't going to be out here doing that. But it is worth mentioning in his best seasons that he's had.
Oh, listen, in the MVP conversation, I'm fine with that. Like, I'd put him second. I know it's going to rub a lot of people the wrong way, especially on this stat, but Joel Embiid missed 21 games this season. Okay. Like, it's what Steph has been able to do, especially lately. We know it's recency bias at some point around here in these parts.
He popped it on here and said 30 seconds.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Indignantly.
Indignant. And so I will remind people that the NBA play-in tournament is on ESPN Radio. Tune in tonight as Justice Winslow and the Grizzlies travel to San Fran to take on Jordan Poole and the Warriors. Coverage begins at 8:30 p.m. Eastern on most ESPN radio stations.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.